what made me really interested about the island of Manø to begin with was actually that it was so close to where I'm from and my own home. So normally when you hear about issues with climate change, it's often far away from ourselves. It's far away from Denmark or the Nordic countries. So experiencing that people this close to me were also struggling and being affected by climate change, by the rising sea levels to this degree, that was something new, and that made me curious. Besides from that, people just having a past and a history which is very connected to violent storms, violent weather, being so controlled by the weather, by the sea. That's quite unique for a place in Denmark, quite extraordinary, that you really have to schedule your whole day, every day, based on the weather. So I think those were some of the things from the beginning that got me curious to dive more into their lives. The islanders, they seem rather calm, not too worried about what's coming or worried about the future, maybe also because of their history dealing with rather rough weather. But I know throughout the process of making the film, having these conversations with the islanders, many of them have become more and more aware of the rising threat. And that's interesting, right? Because the island is not like far out in the sea. If you cross the road when the tide is low, and it's possible to cross the road there, it's like a 20 minutes drive to the mainland. So in that way, it's not far from civilization or far from the mainland, and of course they have all the same technologies that we do elsewhere. So it's not remote in that way. But what's curious here is as soon as the tide is high, which it is on a daily basis, and now with the rising sea levels as well, the tide might be, or the water might be, covering the road even for days after a storm. So now they are more and more isolated. And even though they have these technologies, there's nothing really like our main character. He can go on Tinder to try to find a wife, but of course there's no one at his age, at least, in the area, and probably those who are, they're like twice as old as he is. Well, a really big thing for me, also for Juan, I know, because we've been there filming with them over many years, and some of them, as you will also experience in the film, they are a bit like odd characters. And they know that, and they are proud of that. But we were a bit worried. Are we ridiculing them? Is someone gonna take this in the wrong way? We did have a dialogue throughout the film with everyone, so they knew what was being filmed, of course. But still, it's something different when you see yourself on a big screen. So I was like super worried before the premiere in Denmark, and before going there we had like a small screening only for all the participants, and I think I didn't sleep several nights worrying about it, because it really meant a lot that they would be proud of the film and they could see themselves represented in the film. Luckily the film was really well taken in, and they were all happy and also proud, I think, because the film is also portraying a very beautiful place on Earth, and all the uniqueness and the beauty to this place, which is a big part of their identity. So luckily they received it very well, and also especially our main character Gregers, but also some of the others have been a big part of making events around the film, talking with journalists, even coming to film screenings and having the Q&As. And also when the film was launched in Denmark, we had a lot of media attention on the film, so a lot of interviews and also television with all the characters in the film. I know this has, for them and also the rest of the country, also outside of Denmark, created an awareness about these new challenges. So it's been lovely in that way, working together with them to make sure that they also feel that the film is a way to for them to have a voice, but also to make politicians aware of the struggles and the challenges they are facing, because there's so few left on the island, and most of them, as you'll see in the film, most of them are above 70 years. So it's limited what they can do, and how loud they can shout for anyone to listen. In that way, they've also been able to use the film as a channel for making political awareness.